Hey everybody, it's Joe Ryan here, and this is day 39 of my last semester as a college professor. Today I taught ESL 5A, and it was a really good class, although I was not a great teacher. It takes me a half hour to warm up before I'm really ready to do anything. We started with the passive voice, and I love the passive voice. It's so funny because when I was a teaching assistant at USC, I had worked as a tutor at the LA City College lab, and an ESL student came in and asked me if I knew how to change active voice to passive voice, and I thought I did, but I was confused, and I left her with little information that was useful to her, and I felt bad about it. But the good news is that over the years, I've learned how to teach it, and I've learned the beauty of it, and I've learned how conversion, meaning go from active voice to passive voice, is a really essential thing and an essential quality. It really helps you to learn English, actually, because doing these conversions just makes you much more nimble in English. Anytime you do anything like that, where you do conversion or sentence combining, it's really good experience for you, and it really helps you to learn quickly. So that's the important thing. So, I showed Arnell video. I love Arnell. She's this Asian woman that just, she's beautiful and she's a pretty good speaker. She's very funny, and she's a riot to listen to. Even if you're an ESL student, I think you see the humor in what she's doing, and she gives good explanation. Certainly, the students benefit from it, and I showed that 10-minute video of her, and it was a nice way to introduce the topic more clearly than I could do it, because I was just hammering it together the way I normally do. And I made the point, and I want to make this point for anybody learning English as a second language or any language. It's like math. Classroom is for practice, at home is for study. Study is really essential. You can't just do it with practice alone. I mean, you could, but the reality is that if you really want to learn the subject, you have to go home and study it. That's why teachers give exams. That's why we take notes. That's why we practice, so that at some point we're going to demonstrate knowledge. And if you don't do that, then it's kind of like a weakness. And by the way, this talk about Italy that I'm going to give to Italy, I'm going to mention that because that's a really important point that I want Italian teachers to understand. Um, the other thing is that so that went for an hour, and then of course like the break came, and that was a long 25 minutes where I did very little, which is unusual for me. But I guess I'm just feeling like, okay, I had today's lesson kind of in the bag, more or less. Then we spent a half hour doing some work from Ready to Write 3, and it was about cause and effect essays. And the main point I wanted to make there was that there's a language, consequently, so, thus, therefore, and other transitional expressions that people use when they're writing cause and effect essays. And the difference is causes are what causes a thing to happen, and effects are what is the effect of what has happened. So we talked about the fact that the lockdowns were caused by the virus and this easy spread of transmission and the amount of deaths for vulnerable populations. So that was really important. And the results were people lost their jobs, people became discouraged, people had to stay home, whatever happens to be. So that was a good lesson, where I could use practical information to talk about it. The next thing that I did was so we went on for that, and then we looked at thesis statements. And the thing I liked about the book's presentation is they give thesis statements the way I think you should write a thesis statement, which is the main idea and the organizational plan. So if you're saying that, for example, making building a shopping mall in your area could, increase the number of jobs available. It could increase the prices of homes, and it also could give other places for people to socialize. That's a really, those would be three effects of building a shopping mall in an area. Okay, and so we did that, and that was good. I mean, they needed to hear that. They needed to get more reinforcement about thesis statements because they're really necessary. And then we went on from there to to read the book, The War Between the Classes. And, you know, we covered a few chapters quickly. We did chapter 8, 9, 10, and we're going to get into 11 on Wednesday. But what was interesting was Hay Park, my oldest student who was from Korea, actually teared up as she was reading about Sue, one of the characters. You know, it's a fictional book, but had lost her baby or was about to lose her baby, and she couldn't go on. Actually, she stopped, and then I had another student read, and it was really lovely moment. I didn't comment on it. I just moved on because it didn't, you know, it was late and also it didn't bear comment at that time. You know, but I was very affected by her, you know, just reaction to the book because I'm at that point where I'm not sure what students really get out of doing this reading. I'm trying to move them along and try to give them an increased ability to speak about it and to understand it. But at the same time, you know, we're just kind of moving through it as if it were any document. And okay, so that worked out, and that was good. And then, of course, we got to the end, and I mentioned again that we have 9 more classes, which is not accurate because I think we're going to take one class off for sure because I'm going to be in San Antonio. But anyway, they don't need to know that right now. I'm also getting bombarded by Jessica, my one-to-one student that I really enjoyed writing to, and I'm going to continue to write to her, and I'll probably meet her this weekend to get our project about Atypical completed if I can. And I'm looking toward doing 1 or 2 more students, so it's going to be a busy, busy time. Plus, I have to do my Italy information, and that's, you know, going to be trying, but I'll try to do my best, and that's all I can say. Okay, thank you very much for listening. I think I have to end. How do I end this thing? Sorry, folks. I didn't mean to. Yeah, say something. Um, I hope I don't want to lose it because I don't know if it was good, but I certainly don't want to end it. I want to end it. Okay, I think I said enough. Oh no. Oh.